Hello everybody, how you doing? It's tutorial time again, and this is going to be like that last tutorial, where instead of just really basic and on script, I'm going to just talk about it, pre-prepare a little bit and talk about a few things. So one of the questions I get a lot on this channel is basically, how do you get better enchantments on equipment? So I carry around a lot of enchanted diamond tools, and most of them look like this. I usually have mending on them, and I have a ton of other enchants too, because that's, it's good gear. If you are an experienced Minecraft player, you'll know all about this, but if you're pretty new to it, and you've maybe done a couple of enchants, and you don't really know how they work, and you want to know how you get better enchants, this is how you do it. Now, the first thing you'll need is an enchantment table, which, if you don't know how to make that, it's basically made from diamonds and obsidian. Maybe I'll make another video about making one of these days, but that is your enchantment table, and this is how you enchant stuff, pretty basically. You take your enchantment table, you put an item in your enchantment table you want to enchant, in this case a diamond sword, then you put some lapis in there, and then you get to choose from 3 enchants. And here we have, they all cost the same, and they're all sword enchants. Sharpness 1, smite 1. They might be something else. Actually, they don't cost the same, do they? Oh, maybe they do. Oh no, yeah, 3 lapis, 3 enchantment levels. So, the most expensive one down at the bottom here, the cheapest up at the top. But as you can see, these are pretty basic enchants. Sharpness 1, if you just have a sword, that's a day 1 enchant. And I'm actually going to take that enchant. I'll do it. Look, here we go. Sharpness 1. And have we been lucky? No, we haven't got anything extra with it. Sharpness 1, we now have a sword. Sharpness 1, there we go. It's a little bit more useful, which is fair enough. But what we want is, we want better enchants than this. If I take another sword and I put it in here, now we have... Oh look, another sword, and I can get sharpness 1. Now, this is the first way of getting better enchants out of gear. Here we have now 2 sharpness 1 swords. Where's the other one? It's somewhere in here. There we go, 2 sharpness 1 swords. Then, we take an anvil, put it down, go to the anvil, pop in 1 sword, pop in the other sword, and look, sharpness 2. Take this out, it costs 1 XP, it's pretty cheap. And that is the first and most basic way of getting better enchants in the game, which is to take an anvil, take 2 items that have the same enchant on, 2 sharpness 1s, take them to the anvil, combine them, and then you'll end up with a sharpness 2 sword. And that works for any enchantment that has levels. Some enchantments have levels, some enchantments don't have levels, basically. The other thing you can do is you can enchant a book. Here's a book I have. Let's put this in the enchanting table. And let's put the lapis in. And look, we can get these different enchants here. Power 1, Efficiency 1, Blast Protection 1. You enchant books just like tools. Now, I'm not going to use any of these enchants here, because when you put a tool in an enchantment table, it only gives you enchantments related to that tool. So, Fortune for picks, Sharpness for swords, and different ones. With books, it'll give you basically any enchantment you can get out of a table. None of these are actually enchantments that you can put on a sword, so I'm not going to take this for now. But here's a sword enchantment that I found earlier, called Looting 2. Looting is a bit like... it's a bit like Fortune for swords. What you can also do, rather than combining just swords, you can put a tool in your anvil, and a book, and there we can combine again. We can combine the sword with the book, and now we have Sharpness 2, Looting 2. So you've gone from just being able to put your sword in here and get these cheap enchants here, whatever they are, these nice beginner cheap enchants, to actually being able to go with 2 different enchants. You know, we've enchanted 3 things, a book and 2 swords, and we've combined this into Sharpness 2, Looting 2. That's already a pretty useful piece of equipment. That's just a very basic way of getting better enchantments on equipment. But what you might also notice is these enchantments are all pretty cheap. They're not that great. They're all pretty basic. How do we get things like Looting 3, things like that? Now, we could just keep enchanting swords and combining them, but the other thing you want to look into is bookcases, or bookshelves. Now, if you take bookshelves and you arrange them, in fact, let me just show you to demonstrate. We put the sword in here, and we've got enchants that cost, 1, 2, is that the cost? Oh, I think it's the cost on the right. I'm so used to doing this by impulse, I forget. But as you can see, we've got enchants here that cost between 1 and 4. So they're not very expensive. But watch what happens if we start to put some bookcases around the enchanting table like this. Just around in a layer. pop back in here. About 1 square away. Oh, now we have an enchant that costs 10. And the enchants are a little bit different. Unbreaking 1, Smite 1, Bane of Arthropods 2. So we're starting to get second level enchants too. Now, the highest level of enchantment you can actually get from an enchantment table is level 30. So if I start just rolling these around here, we should now have... There we go, level 30 enchants, Looting 2. So Looting 2 is a pretty expensive enchantment. I probably won't go that high because I don't have many enchanting levels here. But that is a way you can get higher level enchantments. So what you can do now is you can take your sword in, pop my sword in here, enchant this with, sure, Fire Aspect. My cheapest enchant now is Fire Aspect 1, which is a pretty rare enchant. I will say, by the way, it's worth keeping an enchantment table here like this. It's also worth keeping one away from your bookcases, doesn't have as many bookcases around, because this makes all your enchants on here more expensive. So sometimes you'll just want cheap enchants like Unbreaking, and the more bookcases you pop around on there, the more rare the enchants will become. So sometimes you'll want to just have, okay, I just want Unbreaking 1, right? I just want these more common, cheaper enchants just to kind of get the enchants going. So it's worth having 2 enchantment tables. One that you put your bookcases around, one you don't put any bookcases around. So now what we can do is we can go in with a more expensive enchant right off the bat. Normally I do a level 31 just to save it up, but this is not about grinding XP today. So you get your enchant there from your more expensive bookcase, and then go to your anvil and you can pop this in here. There's 7 XP. There we go. We got a fairly rare sword enchant there with Fire Aspect. And then Looting 2. Sharpness 2, that's a pretty good sword all round. And the only thing that's really left is, I might not be able to afford this, but last but not least, if you have a villager who sells mending books, which I keep stashed up here because they are very rare, you can then stick mending on by piling up more bookcase enchants, because those enchanted books will let you pile on enchantment after enchantment after enchantment. Ooh, it's a little too expensive. Okay, so I'm a little short on there, but then you just grind up your 9 XP and you combine it. So in summary, that is how you go from enchants that maybe look like this, a nice basic enchant here, sharpness 1 on a sword right out the bat, your first level, I put my enchantment down, to having enchantments like sharpness 3 right out of the enchantment table. And the reason that matters is when it comes to combining tools, you can only combine tools every so often. So I could get sharpness 1 and then I could get 2 sharpness 2 swords, then I could get 2 sharpness 2 swords to sharpness 3, and I could get a sharpness 3 sword with just that level 1 enchantment table with no bookcases around. But then if I wanted to put on extra enchantments, every time you do it, those combines and those enchants are getting more and more and more expensive. So what you want to do is get your gear up to the highest level as possible with the fewest steps. So once you've got bookcases all the way around your enchantment table like this, you can go on, you can put a level 30 enchant right away, get that sharpness 3 on the sword straight away, and then you can enchant another sword, do another level 30 enchantment, carry them over here and combine them, and you've got 2 level 30 enchantments for the price of a cheap combination. So, in summary, if you want to get better enchants... Whoa! Try and do a tutorial here, creeper. Alright. This is what happens when nighttime comes along. I should have skipped the night. At least the enchantment table didn't go. This is actually my main enchantment table. So, with that in mind, in summary... this is my farm, so it's completely hollow. If you would like to take your enchants from just really basic, low-level enchants that you have to combine up and up and up to better, take an enchantment table, put bookcases all around it like this, plus 2 here that got blown up, and then use an anvil to combine those high-level enchants into better and better gear. And that'll soon take you from starting equipment that looks like this to equipment that looks like this, which is my main sword. And all my gear is basically kind of like this. There's my mending sword and things like that. My shovel. I don't know where my axe is right now. I've put it somewhere. My armor, things like that. You know, all this equipment, most of this was done in a couple of enchants. You know, this was just a lucky enchant, you know. Couple of enchants, couple of books, as few combinations as possible. You can get them up to some pretty high level gear. All right, this is a different kind of tutorial for me. Hopefully this was useful to you. I'm trying to do tutorials that are a bit out of like very basics onto things that take a little bit more explanation now. So if this was useful to you, I hope so. Let me know. Please do leave a like and a subscribe and all that stuff. And I will see you guys in my stream tomorrow. This is kind of my day off today, but I wanted to make this video. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye-bye.